Hi, my name's Chris. Today I want to talk about employment applications. In today's world, it seems that the employment application is a thing of the past. Most businesses started just collecting resumes and hiring based on the resume. So I was recently asked by a friend of mine who just opened a business, do I need an employment application? Well, the answer is not so quite simple. No, you don't absolutely need one. However, it is a good idea to have one. So the question is, why do I need an employment application? And that's what we're going to cover today. There are a lot of reasons why you need an employment application. 5 of the major reasons you need an application are: 1, it helps screen candidates; 2, there's some legalities around it; 3, it mitigates risk of discrimination; 4, it helps organize information; and 5, it's about compliance. Screening candidates is important, and employers should not solely rely on resumes as part of the hiring process. It is essential to use both an application and a resume to ensure consistency in the applicant's background and experience. This consistency will play a crucial role in determining whether the candidate is qualified for the open position within your organization. A resume alone cannot capture a comprehensive picture of an applicant's qualifications. This can only be done through an application or interview. A resume is simply a tool for an applicant to selectively present information that creates a favorable impression, or for an employer to selectively evaluate a candidate for further consideration. On the other hand, an employment application compels a candidate to provide precise and comprehensive information about their professional background, previous employment, and salary history. Once an application is submitted, a recruiter or hiring manager is then able to make an informed decision on whether or not the candidate meets the minimum or desired qualification for the job they are seeking. Legalities. A company has certain legalities regarding documentation they may hold. While a resume is not considered a legal document, an employment application has the potential to be transformed into a legally binding document for your organization. An employment application serves to grant authorization for reference checks, background checks, and criminal history checks where permissible. It also has the ability to ensure that the applicant acknowledges your organization's commitment to equal employment opportunities. In addition, it clarifies that their employment is at will. Furthermore, it has a requirement that they attest to the accuracy and truthfulness of the information they provide, which the resume does not have. To further touch on the legalities, the employment application includes a section where a candidate attests via their signature that the information they provided is complete and accurate, and that any misrepresentation or omission of facts may result in rejection of their application or, if hired, disciplinary action up to and including dismissal. A resume does not have this level of agreement, which puts your organization at a significant disadvantage if you later discover information that contradicts what was stated on the resume. An employment application mitigates risk of discrimination. By not using an application, you leave your company open to a claim of discrimination because a resume can vary greatly in format, making it a challenge to compare candidates without potentially discriminating against them. For example, including a date of birth on a resume could lead to age discrimination, while mentioning a street address or a name of a high school could unconsciously bias the screener against candidates from minority neighborhoods. A properly formatted employment application standardizes the information a candidate provides when applying for a role. 5 important elements to include in an application are affirmation of equal opportunity, employment at will, background check consent, consideration of criminal convictions, and falsification consequences. Organizing information. An application helps you organize information and make an informed decision of an applicant's suitability for a role. In addition, it saves your company time and money. An employment application streamlines the hiring process and ensures that no crucial details are missed. Instead of having to request missing information from a resume, an employment application ensures that all relevant information is made available during the hiring process, which is much more efficient. By using a standardized job application, your company can ensure you don't overlook necessary and important information such as the applicant's name, phone number, mailing address, reference person, and a signature with a signature date. A standardized format for work history, including the names of previous employers, start and end date, and whether the position was full-time or part-time, makes it easier to evaluate the candidate's suitability. So as you can see, there is clearly a great benefit to having a job application. Compliance. An application helps keep your business in compliance. For instance, document retention. It is a good practice to keep resumes and applications of non-hired individuals for 2 years following the date the hiring process is completed for a position. When we talk about compliance, we're talking about compliance with California and federal law. For instance, California Government Code Section 1294-6 requires employers to maintain and preserve any and all applications, personnel, membership, or employment referral records or files for a minimum of 4 years after the record or file was or is initially created or received. Records must also be kept for a period of 4 years if an employment action was taken or the employee was terminated. In regards to federal law, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 requires employers to keep various employment records, including job applications, for 1 year from the date the application was received. Also, Age Discrimination in Employment Act requires employers to retain employment applications for 1 year. However, there is language that indicates if you are aware the applicant is over the age of 40, you should retain the record for as long as 2 years. Furthermore, the American with Disability Act requires employers to retain applications and documents for 1 year. There is some variation based on whether or not the applications are solicited or unsolicited, but the maximum retention is 2 years. Having gone this far and heard all the great reasons for an application, I'm sure there's some out there that would say small businesses don't need an employment application, and that would be false. All businesses need an employment application, whether you're a big business, a small business, or a micro business with just 1 or 2 employees. By now you know an application is a good idea. Not only is it a good idea, an employment application is a necessity. While there may be a lot of employers out there that may have a multitude of reasons for not having applicants fill out a job application, when you look at everything, those reasons really don't make the cut. Some popular reasons for not having an application might be, we need to get this position filled ASAP. Employment applications are not required by law, so what's the point? Every day we don't have somebody in the role, we're losing revenue. It's just a silly form. What's the harm in not having it filled out? Our process is slowed down when we ask for this information. While the explanations an employer gives for not having an employment application might make sense in the short term, in the long term, not having an application might cause more harm. As a risk management strategy, if you currently do not use an application, you should start using one today. The next step is to start using an employment application. If you need help getting started, you can contact me for a free consultation. You can do so by email or phone. By email, you can email to kbadilla@my42alpha.com, or you can call me at 415-802-7505. I look forward to hearing from you.